Hello everyone. I, as you guys know, am Sugyu, and I want to thank you all for joining me for this video today, as I want to talk about something that's really important and in a way very dangerous. So, with that being said, I would like to start the video off with a nice viewer discretion is advised, as there will be some things that you might find disgusting or irredeemable. And yeah. Now, with that out of the way, let's get straight to it. I wish to discuss about pulse subcommunities, in particular, one that rings out to a lot of people, Chronos. Now, Chronos has been in the community for a while. Everybody knows about them, and they are a pretty big community. However, the other day, about a week ago, 7 days ago, screenshots involving certain users within the Chronos community were leaked out, and these screenshots contain many things which are, to say, unacceptable. Some of these things consisted of bigotry, intense usage of slurs, offensive behavior and disgusting irredeemable behavior, threats of doxing, and on top of all of this, death threats directed towards me. As you can see, to start off with some of the most extreme things here, there is users such as Shannis Kronos, who has posed death threats directed to me. If you wish, you can pause the video. At later points in the video, I will have a feed of it running again, so you don't have to pause now. And overall, these are all of the screenshots that were leaked. From these screenshots, what you can witness is users such as Xanxious Kronos. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. No, not really. I'm not sorry. And he has posed death threats against me directly. And in the video, you can see, following chances are users Joshua Ball, Camellia S. Kronos, and Young Nias, certainly not a master, L. Kronos. Take an L. Ironically, in this group of people, I've never actually interacted with any of these people. I've never spoken to them directly, nor have I interacted with them. The closest I can say to me interacting with these group of users specifically is with Camellia S. Kronos. Now, about maybe a month back, she came into the Discord server and she just joined the voice call. And she just started live streaming the entire Kronos Discord, showing off all the private messages. And it revealed a lot of their nature, obviously. I still don't know why she did that. I don't know what there was to gain there except making yourself look bad. I've recorded some of this streaming she did. I do have it. I still have it. I'm not going to show it because it's just a bunch of people saying the N-word, as well as certain members that I don't want to speak on acting in a way that isn't appropriate. But yeah, in many instances across the server, from what I've witnessed during Camilla's stream, as well as in the leaked screenshots that are still scrolling on the screen, they participate in immense bigotry and disgusting behavior, something personally I don't think is allowed anywhere in the Roblox community, nor should it ever be accepted within any community. I'd argue that some of the users should even be reported to Discord and Roblox. So to the users that are still in the Kronos Discord and have direct access to these messages, I implore that you perhaps get those message IDs and report them, as that is the right thing to do. Well, now, with that being said, many of the Kronos members have directly antagonized my staff in many instances, insisting that their bans were unjustified or that there was perhaps bias. So I would like to spend the upcoming moments of this specific video going over some of the users that are within this screenshot that have a history that we can go through. I will show you the bot logs. Of course, I'm not going to go and show all the logs. That would be unethical. However, I have picked out a few of the logs that I felt were relevant towards the user's history to just justify what had happened in the past, and so the viewer yourself knows exactly what it is that we are doing here, for the sake of transparency. Now, before we continue, I would like to make a comment on just the state of how the rules used to work back then, because most of the logs I will show you are from around 2023. Now, back then, in my system, I didn't have a warning system. The only way for us to give a message to a user who was infringing on the rules was through a ban, and then we would wait for an appeal. The reason why we did this is because the system was very lacking in flexibility. So I do want to apologize for that. but I still hope you understand the reason why it had to be. However, now we have a warning system. So usually for things that are not deemed too offensive, we hand out a warning. And then if a user infringes on this rule, we, hand out a ban based on a set of criteria that we follow by. Now, to start, I would like to start with a bigger offender on this document list. Somebody who goes by the name of Chances Kronos. Now, Chances actually has a pretty clean history. As you can see here from the little logs that I've gathered, he only had one singular offense that I could find. And that being, he mentioned the funny haha, not safe for work site, R34. Obviously, this is not something that's allowed within the game. So of course, a moderator, I'm not going to say names because I do not want anybody to be attacked for just doing their job, banned him. Now, what happened? He came and he appealed. And as you can see, his appeal was accepted. And up until this point, up until the moment where I am writing this video, to the point where I'm recording this video, he was unbanned. He was able to play the game fine. There was no issues from what I could see. So, that being said, I'll be handing out a permanent ban. I'll be using Roblox's ban async so that he cannot join on an alt. I do not think a user who is willing to post death threats online and willing to join in the harassment and to be acting in such a way is fit for the Roblox community. I do not think I deserve to have a user like that in my game. I think I would be doing a disservice to the community if I did not get rid of this user based on the way they are acting. So I hope you all understand. However, this user is now permanently banned, and he will never be allowed to appeal. Sanchez is not fit for the community. Up next is Young Niall Kronos. Now, as of recording this video, they weren't banned. They were able to play the game and enjoy it. However, if you are now seeing this video, that means that they are now permanently banned. Now, as you can see, they had a history. They have a history of making disrespectful and inappropriate remarks. I do not find the statements made by them fitting, insisting that they would eat me alive. So you guys can understand the kind of behavior this player engages in, and why I do not want them in my community, and why I do not deem them fit for my community. Up next is user Luminous Kronos, also known as 50 Shades of Grays. Intriguing username, really, surely. This user was in the past banned for using homophobic slurs. I obviously have a very strict stance. That is not allowed in my community, and I do not stand for it. Never will I ever allow this in my community, so they are of course banned. However, this person was of course unbanned because, first-time offenders get an unban after a certain amount of days pass. Now, of course, with the same thing as last time, what happens? They are now permanently banned. I do not like users acting in such a way, and this user participated with the user Camellia in the terrible behavior. I do not support this in any communities. This user is now permanently banned. Up next is Melanie Kronos. This user actually had a clean record as far as I could tell. I couldn't find a single thing. However, based on how they acted within the Kronos group, I've made the decision that I do not want this user in my community. I think we, as a people of loving communities, have to have the decency to uphold certain standards. If these standards are not upheld, the loving nature of our communities will fall before we know it. So I have made the decision that I do not want them in my server, and I cannot have a good conscience with them in my communities. So this person was also banned. And you are allowed to judge whether or not you agree with me. However, I do not want them in these communities, so these people will be getting banned. Now, I know this video is getting a bit lengthy and miserable. However, we are almost there with 2 users left that I want to cover based on the document. However, to lift your spirits, I have instructed Jigium to get jiggy with it for you. Thank you, Jigium. Now, back to the document. Up next is Camellia S. Kronos, another user that was engaging in threatening acts of violence and as well as murder against another user. This person had been banned before. The reason why they were banned is because they actually had an appropriate word in their bio, that word being breeding. Of course, it's pretty self-explanatory as to why this word is not allowed within Pulse. It is something that is not fit for the younger audience, so we gave them a ban for this word. Now, of course, as I mentioned before, back then we didn't have a warrant system. Now we do. Normally we would file lock for such a thing. However, they decided instead of appealing to evade their ban by hopping on an alt. Of course, once it was discovered, we applied a more stern ban onto them, as evading ban is a very high offense. Now, as you can also see, this user had engaged in pretty terrible conversation. Said a lot of things that I don't personally agree with. Said a lot of things that I find terrible. So I do not want this user in my community. I do not want them anywhere near any of my communities. So this user will also be permanently banned. And finally, saving Kovu for last. As I was informed by certain members in my community, that Kovu is actually one of the leaders of Chronos. As you can see, this user in particular has a long history of breaking the rules and being a genuine problem within the Pulse communities. This user has, on multiple occasions, acted inappropriately. He has ban evaded, and as well as acted, I would say, distasteful in many other occasions. And now, since this is a leader of Chronos, you can imagine that is a huge problem for the group itself. Because the leader of a group, the person who helps keep the community together, is supposed to represent the best intentions of that group. And if this is the person that is running the group, you can assure yourself that this person does not have the best intentions for this group. I cannot turn a blind eye to someone who is willing to ignore many things that users are saying in their communities, and as well as partake in certain actions here, and as well as make certain statements, and as well act such a way. I cannot accept that. It would be a disservice to my community, and therefore I am permanently banning this user. Now I will, of course, once again, use the Roblox's ban async, which is a tool given to us by Roblox that allows us to ban users and as well as any alt state create. So now with that being stated, I would like to make a warning. If for some reason you are just a friend of his and you let him use your account, through Roblox's moderation system, it will assume your account is his and it will do a ban automatically. And there will be nothing I can do about it. It's the only one way to get that account unbanned is if I unban Kovu. And as you can tell, Kovu will be permanently banned. So take that as a warning. Now, I suggest that this user be handled appropriately within the Chronos community, held accountable for the things they've done. Finally, we have gotten through the bulk of it. However, I still have some final statements I would like to make. So I please ask for you to have a little bit more patience with this video. I would like to now denounce the owners of Chronos, both Melissa and Kovu. I do not think they are fit to run the community, based on the actions that I've seen running rampant in this community, that they simply ignore and continue to allow happening without any intervention. I'd like to make a request as well to the newer server members of Chronos, to the people who wanted to join a group, a family, to have fun and to roleplay, without any politics, because that's what this is. This is politics. I ask for you guys to perhaps consider leaving the Chronos group and making a new one. Make it your own thing. Pick new leaders to represent your community, because the ones you have now do not have your best interest at heart. They are intending to lead people down a dangerous path, a path that I can assure you should not be taken. I do not think they are fit. I do not think they have your best intentions at heart. I ask and implore you guys to pick out a new leader and to start over, and to denounce anybody who is partaking in these actions. I ask that you set up a new server with guidelines. I ask that community owners stand up to these actions, because these things should not happen. Do not let hateful people use you as fodder in some kind of war of theirs to get an achievement, because they are not thinking about you. They are thinking about their own desires of victory, no matter how twisted it may be, over something super petty like a Sonic roleplay furry game simulator with physics and NPCs. You do not need to be acting this way. It is a game. Now, with that being said, there is a group called the Roshia Group. And if you are not feeling too happy with what you have discovered here about Cronus and you do not wish to be a part of this group, the Roshia clan is always inviting and welcoming to new members. Plus, they got some pretty good aesthetics, so I highly recommend. Hi, I'm just making a quick addendum to this video. I do want to also ask that anybody who is not a part of the Kronos group, do not attack the Kronos group. This isn't something that is reflective of the Kronos group. This is reflective of the specific individual users within that group. I ask that the users who have done something be held accountable. Do not take this as a call to action against all of them, because it is not. We are not here to spread hate to those undeserving. These are new members that just wanted to have fun. Now, I'm only asking that you hold accountable the users that I am going over in this video. Thank you. So, to end the video, I will announce a new rule that will go into effect on the next update version for Pulse, that being the UI update for Malachite. All community owners from here on then will be held accountable for the actions of their communities. If they enable or allow hatred to grow to a concerning degree, you will be held just as accountable as the server members participating in those actions. We all have to work together to keep the community safe. No one can do it alone. As much effort as I can put in, and as much effort as my mod team can put in, we're never going to get everyone. That is why I made the reporting system to begin with. All of us have a role to play to keep our communities safe. And if you are not participating in your role, we will end up lacking, and things like this will get out of hand. So, I ask that everybody keeps track of things. If you see something, report it. And as for community owners, if you see someone participating in derogatory, hateful actions, inciting violence, or anything of the sort, ban them. If you do not ban them, you will be held responsible for their actions, because you are not fulfilling your part to keeping the community safe. I've always taken pride in my reporting system because it's continued to prevent the users who come to troll, who come to be bigoted, who come to cause damage or harm, or just to be dangerous to the community as a whole. I have no doubt that this system has prevented hundreds of them from being around, and I take pride in that. I want to hold all rule breakers accountable, anyone that we can get. If you break the rules, you have to be held accountable. That being said, it'll remain like that to the end of time. So, thank you all for joining. I wish you all a lovely night, and I hope you all stay safe. I apologize for the quite grim video, but I hope that we can all grow from this and continue to push forward together as communities to make something that we can all enjoy and participate in, so that we can all have fun, express our creativity, and to just get along with everyone in a safe environment. Thank you all. Good night.